Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time. I got it. But first, welcome to a brand new episode of Dylan Knows, episode 494, the April Fool. It is 11:19 p.m. on April 1st, 2023. So, yes, it is April Fool's Day. So there have been a lot of April Fool's jokes on the internet as usual. I have some of those listed for today's show. Not as much as I was expecting, but there was a lot up there, though. So be careful. Plus, there is time. We still got about 40 minutes before Palm Sunday and the beginning of Holy Week happens. So, yes, that's rolling out here too soon. The weather has been absolutely insane today. I'll talk to you about that as well. I've got the house to myself. I've got news about Dungeons and Dragons and baseball, trailers, indictments, In Dreams returns. What else is there? All kinds of just a lot of news today. 4.5 pages worth of news. Potential idea for our 500th episode, which is only 6 episodes away. Try to work the word cattywampus into today's episode. I don't think I'll be able to. So, yeah, we've got some casting. We've got some production starts and so on and so forth. So let us get moving along with the cattywampus that we got going on here. But what I meant by it's finally here. I finally got it. I've been looking for this for a while. It is Peep Soda. This is Peepsy. Pepsi's Peeps flavored soda, or they call it Peepsy. I found these a 10 small pack at the grocery store, so I figured I may as well try it. Now, my daughter tried it already. She said it was okay, but I have not tried it yet because I always want to do it live on the show. So here we go. Smells a little off, not like that, but here we go. Bottoms up. Cheers. Peep Soda. Ooh. No, it's a really weird taste. See, it's not really, it's a little hint of marshmallow in there, but it tastes like chemicals. And I guess maybe that's what Peeps are. Yeah, it's the marshmallow aftertaste. It's kind of got a Peeps flavor to it. You know, Peeps has sort of that chemical marshmallow flavoring to it. So I guess they nailed that on the head. Yeah. I don't know. Was I building it up too much? It's okay. I don't know if I could drink a whole 12-pack of the big cans. I've already got the small cans. I've got two of those. So I've got 8 more. I think I could probably have. I might drop one to my mom just as a souvenir because she likes Peeps. I don't think she would drink it. It's okay. I mean, it's got a very strong chemical marshmallow flavor. Obviously, you're not going to make it with real marshmallow. And my wife works in this type of stuff, so she knows these chemicals. She could probably tell you exactly what this chemical is. But it's definitely something. And a unique flavor, but probably will never get it ever again. I'll probably finish drinking the remaining 8 packs during this Holy Week. But and plus the fact that they're in these small containers, I'm almost done it, so I think I can handle it. But it's just a kind of a really weird chemically taste, a little bit of marshmallow aftertaste to it, which I guess if you want to really, really get into it, that's kind of how Peeps are. They've got a real kind of chemical sort of flavoring because of the outer coating of it, and then the marshmallow flavor of it combined with that is sort of this weird off kilter sort of flavor. But there it is. I tried it because you didn't have to, but Peep Soda has been tried and it is okay. It's not great. I recommend if you want to try it for yourself, if you can't find a simple one, get one of these small cans, the right size there. Now you gotta excuse my coughing. I just started getting this cough today, so that's just wonderful on top of everything else. But yes, there's that. My family is out backpacking today, so I have the house to myself. They'll be back tomorrow. I watched Big Fish, one of my favorite Tim Burton movies, yesterday, and watched Spider-Man No Way Home today. Not exactly what my plans were, but that's what it was. But I was worried about them because we had some wild weather today, and we still have some wild weather today. It started off with some heavy winds overnight. Not a lot, not as much as I thought it would be, but some heavy winds. And then this morning we had some good bouts of rain till about, I guess, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Excuse me. And then it cleared up and became really warm. It was close to 70 plus degrees out today. It was sunny, a little breezy, but not too bad. I got to go out and enjoy myself a little bit. And then I got home and starting to nap out on the sofa. And about a half hour or 40 minutes into my nap, I was awoken by a loud clap of thunder. And all of a sudden, a wind gust blew up, thunder and lightning, pouring down rain and hail. A lot of hail. I haven't heard this much hail in a really long time. Had a lot of hail come through here. And then it lasted for about 45 minutes. And then it moved on. And then it cleared up. Got a little chillier. It's now presently 44 degrees right now. And the breeze is still kind of windy out there. It seems like they've died a little bit down a little bit, but the breeze is still out there. We're supposed to be in the 50s tomorrow, and then in the 70s for most of next week. It's supposed to be like close to 80 on Tuesday. So we're getting into that weird April sort of temperature weather aspect because that's what it is. So I hope they were okay. I got a text from my wife. They decided to take an early bedtime, and I got to text my daughter about 2 hours later. So hopefully they're safe and sound, and then they'll be able to get back home safely. They'll be back home probably about 11 a.m. tomorrow. It's about 12 hours from now they'll be home. So that'll be good. Tomorrow is Palm Sunday, which is the beginning of Holy Week for Catholics, meaning full well that Easter is only a week away right now. So I gotta get my ass in gear because there's a lot of Easter stuff I haven't quite gotten yet. So we'll have to work on that. But got plans for the weekend. I'm going to see my mom on Easter Saturday, and we'll go down to my in-laws on Easter Sunday. And then Good Friday I have off. And I'll probably do a lot of my shopping that day because my wife gets paid, so we'll be able to have the money in there because I think our house payment is going into this week. So we'll be down money this week, but we should be okay by the end of the week. So we should be all right about that. So, but Palm Sunday, I've talked about this before. It's a really interesting mass where they read the Passion of the Christ, which is they read the whole Passion of the Christ. So it takes about 30 minutes to read, to do the readings. And they just basically have three people doing the readings, including the priest. And then you get the palms, of course, and then the priest does the water and the incense and stuff like that. And then at the end, to kick off Holy Week, the procession leaves the church to the sound of drums, which is so cool. I'll probably be going because I haven't gone to church in a couple years now since COVID. And honestly, with the way the Catholics, other Catholics, are ruining this country, really not a good time to be involved with that religion, I guess. But I still talk to God in a roundabout way, kind of, through some prayer, and everything should be okay. This week also begins spring break for the kids. They started their spring break on Saturday, or not today, not to say today. The last day of school was yesterday. And so, of course, they start with a backpacking trip. But once they get back, they don't have to go to school until the day after Easter Monday. So they've got 10 days. My wife is also taking the week off to hang out with the kids and do stuff with them and hopefully pay our taxes because we haven't done that yet. I'm going to kind of urge her into doing that this week as well because she's the one that does it. I don't handle that aspect of it. Excuse me. This past week was also opening day for the Baltimore Orioles, my baseball team, and for all baseball teams really, on Thursday. And the Orioles got out to a huge lead against the Boston Red Sox, hit a bunch of home runs, hit a lot of hits, stole a lot of bases, and then they almost gave it up and won 10-9. And then same thing happened today. They played their second game today, and they were up 7-1 at one point, ended up losing 9-8 in the ninth inning. So they gave up a lot of stuff also. So there's a lot of work still to be done, but we'll see. But yeah, the Orioles are now presently 1-1 right now. So we'll see about how that goes. Also, as I said, April Fool's Day was today. Now, what I'm about to tell you is all the April Fool's sort of stuff that I saw. We only have about half hour left, so once April Fool's is over, you can probably go back to reading the internet, because this is also the time where the internet really goes and has fun with April Fool's Day and announce a lot of crazy things, which basically is pretty easy to determine is not real. There's only a few times. There's only been a few times where they might have done a really good job of covering it up. This year, though, not really so much. It's a lot of kind of obvious sort of stuff. The stuff I saw basically was Bruce Campbell, Ash from the Evil Dead series, Briscoe County, so on and so forth, has been cast as an American Doctor Who, an American version of Doctor Who, which honestly would be pretty cool if they did that, but it's not going to happen. Another interesting thing is Disney bought the rights to Star Trek, so it's folding it into their universe. So they're going to be working on a Star Trek, Star Wars crossover. That didn't happen either. Up north a little bit, Yangling Brewery, which is a brewery up in Pennsylvania that I subsisted on in college with me and my buddies. They came out with a cheesesteak flavored IPA from Yangling. Again, not really. That would be kind of gross anyway, a cheesesteak flavored IPA beer. Yeah, not too great of an idea. And New Jersey claims that they will be cutting themselves off of the North American continent to become its own island. So, hey, Pennsylvania, you're going to get beachfront property now. So good job on that. Yeah, that's not real, obviously, either. Chris Pratt said that his next voiceover job is going to be as the voice of Mickey Mouse, making fun of the fact that people are upset with his version of Mario in the Super Mario Brothers movie coming out on Wednesday. So that's kind of funny. That's not true either. And it's not really a fake news thing because it actually did happen, but Niantic, that runs Pokemon Go, declared today Pidgey Day, where they claimed that the Pidgeys escaped from the professor and you have to catch them. And it was Pidgeys are one of the most common Pokemon we have. So therein lies the joke. So, but I went out on this, gorgeous day and did a walk around for about an hour, caught some Pidgeys, didn't catch anything great. And that was April Fool's, really. That's really the only things I saw. My kids were not here, so there were no pranks played by them, though they probably have outaged that because I never really got much into the April Fool's pranks all that much. So this is real Peep Soda, though. So after all that, nothing else I say is fake news. Everything else is stuff that has been announced yesterday and so on and so forth. Now, one more thing that happened personally was I have a usual segment on, not usual, it's a whenever it comes up segment on this show called In Dreams, where I talk to you about dreams I remember having. This one, I can understand maybe where I got it from, but I had a dream last night that Taylor Swift, what was that written down? Jump started my car once it wouldn't start. The reason why I was thinking about this because I played a Taylor Swift song yesterday at work, and I was having some issues with my car, but nothing. Doesn't need a jump start or anything like that. Just there was a little bit of a issue here and there that it's. I didn't need to get even taken care of it, fix itself. But I just thought that was kind of a funny dream to have. Taylor Swift jump starting my car, so. That was my in-dream stuff. The other big news this week, and now we're getting into the real news, not fake news, anything like this. All this is straight up true stuff. That a-hole who was president last time before Joe Biden, who practically destroyed our country, stole top secret classified information and sold it to our enemies, won his election via Russia, interfering with our elections, just courting hate and fear and lies and threats and stuff like that. We've been screaming for his indictment on any amount of crimes. He's under about 6 to 10 different investigations, and we've been for years now, and nothing's been happening. We finally got an indictment today, or not today, this week on him in the cases up in New York, which is one of the weaker ones, but he's still being indicted, still is going to have to come face the court and will be sent to prison, hopefully with the upcoming week. So that's good news. And now we just need the Department of Justice, including the District Attorney of the United States, to drop the bomb on the bigger ones, the classified information, the January 6th incitement, and all the maggots who have been threatening the people who are involved. This should also be held accountable, because that's against the law to threaten grand juries and threaten people who are in charge of these grand juries. So those people in Congress who have been sending tweets, stuff like that, should definitely be arrested as well. Here, we're given a warning, but that ain't going to stop them. So next thing is we need to arrest their asses as well. Is that going to happen? Fuck no, it's not going to happen, but it really should. And we really should happen, because you cannot get away with that. If a normal person did that, they'd be in prison in a second. So good news about that end. I'll be more happy when he's actually in prison and he gets charged with a whole bunch of other stuff, gets indicted and other things as well. So he cannot run for president. He should not be able to run for president now that he's been indicted. But it's still scary that he still might be able to run for president, even though he is not, should not, because he is or will be in prison soon, indicted in crimes. So to be continued. Dungeons and Dragons overachieved this week. The movie came out this week and is made up to $40 million, which was more than they thought it would make. It's a number one film, beating John Wick 4. Which only came out last week, so not that big of a deal, but interesting to see Dungeons and Dragons do that. And before the film, they released a teaser for the Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which announces that tickets will go on sale for that movie that's not out till May. Actually, it's only a month away, Dylan. Duh. Go on sale on Monday, which technically would be the 3rd, so a few days before, a 1 month exactly to when it comes out on May 5th. But they with a little teaser trailer, shows nothing really excitingly new, except that has him, Chris Pratt's character Star-Lord, trying to drive a car, which is hilarious. So we shall see what happens with that. It has been announced that movie will be about 2.5 hours long, so that should be interesting. So I am going to take off of work that day. It's no big secret. I already let them know. I've had that day off circled since January, so I will take off that day off to go watch that movie. And then my family's going to be away that weekend because Camporee is that weekend. So for Scout, so should be an interesting weekend then. Avatar 2 scribe, yippee, has been signed on to rewrite the Fantastic Four movie script. So I hope that's not a bad sign. Hopefully not. James Gunn, who I just talked about in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, is now running DC universe films, is teasing the Terrifics, which is a group of 4 heroes. There's a stretchy one and a woman who can turn invisible, and a smart one. I forget who the fourth one is. But it's sort of all similar to the Fantastic Four, and thinking that they might make a movie about that in the DCU, so we'll see. A death this week, Howell Wayans, who is the patriarch of the Wayans family, Marlon, Keenan Ivory, Damon, all of them, died at the age of 86 today. It was today, actually. So thoughts and prayers to his family. Any other deaths on this page? No. I would have connected them that there aren't. These are, oh yeah, there is. Brian Briz Gillis of the band LFO died at the age of 47. He is the third member of the 4-member group that has died. So there's only 1 member left. So that's kind of a weird sort of coincidence. And Mike Berlin, creator of Bugby the Bobcat, a video game character, and Ben Studios co-founder, died this week as well. Some anniversary stuff before we get into the other news. Godzilla vs. Kong, which I have seen. It's actually not too bad. Came out 2 years ago. Moon Knight, the series, premiered 1 year ago this week. Meet the Robinsons, a underrated Disney film, came out 2007. So that's 2007, 2017, 16 years ago. Sin City, the black and white Robert Rodriguez, Frank Miller film based on Frank Miller's graphic novel, came out 18 years ago this week. Romancing the Stone, one of my wife's favorite films, came out in 1984. Michael Douglas, Kathleen Turner, Danny DeVito. Came out directed by Robert Zemeckis, which pretty much got him to do Back to the Future and started him on his career. But 84, 94, 2004, 2014, 39 years. The 40th anniversary is next year. The Matrix is 24 years old this week as well. Came out in 1999. And my favorite band, REM, released the album Accelerate 15 years ago, which that's exactly what you expect. It's a 32-minute album where the album just zips along, and it's a really, really good one after its kind of weak couple of record albums. This one actually was pretty good. I remember playing this one over and over in my car when we were still working at the old building. So I remember playing that when it came out. And it's, as I said, it is a 32-minute wild ride. You don't skip any of the songs. It's just you play it, and before you know it, it's over. It is a fast-paced rock and roll album, and it's fantastic. Last week I told you the Haunted Mansion trailer came out, but I didn't get around to seeing it because the connection to it was bad. Well, I got to see it this week. It looks okay. A bunch of exorcists coming into the house to exorcise the demons, as it were. Not really anything that's interesting to me, but hey, go for it. He'll Come Knocking is a new films to be directed by a horror film, I guess. Can't read my handwriting. Directed by Patrick Bryce. So that's all. Yeah, it would be a horror film. So yeah, that was announced this week. Juror number 2 could very well be Clint Eastwood's last ever film that he's going to direct. He's 93 years old. When he does direct this one, which he's in the process of working on right now, it'll be his 40th film he ever directed. And, he hasn't officially announced his retirement from directing films or acting or whatever, but I would assume at the age of 93, and you get to a point where you just kind of want to stop. And I think this very well could be his last one. But don't be surprised if a couple years down the line he does another one. But right now, this one is, lining up to be the last film he ever directs. And the story is basically about a juror on a jury who discovers that he might be the killer in the case that he's trying. So he has to decide whether to reveal that or mess with the jury to get away with it. So kind of interesting like that. So we'll see. Star Trek Starfleet Academy series has been announced to come out sometime, but it has been announced. Picard ending, so you may as well have a new season, a new show to get ready to take the place of Picard. In the what the fuck news today, a giant meatball made from the flesh cultivated from a woolly mammoth was created. So a woolly mammoth meatball was created in a lab with actual woolly mammoth DNA and meat. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Man discovers a wad of cash dating back to the Depression while excavating his lawn. I think I probably covered this story before, but it popped up on my feed again, so I figured it'd be interesting. So he's tearing up his yard, he's probably going to put a new one in, and he discovers a wad of cash from the Depression, which is 1930s, almost 100 years ago. In his yard, buried in his yard. So that's kind of interesting. Bird sets up a nest in the middle of a South Carolina parking lot and cannot be moved due to federal law. So it's like right in the middle of the parking lot. So it's making it inconvenient for people who park in the parking lot to drive around it, but they're going to have to because they cannot remove it per federal law. So go Birds. Ike Perlmutter, who was the Marvel Comics executive editor, John Turton, and Rob Steffers, all part of the Marvel Comics board of directors and so on and so forth, have all been released by Disney. They are no longer working for Marvel in a major shakeup to their upper echelon of workers. So we'll see how that all plays out there. A Cup of Noodles Godzilla plush is the newest plush that everybody's going to want out there. Georgina Campbell, who is a name you're going to hear a couple times today, and Logan Miller are going to be starring in a film called Psycho Killer from the writer of Seven, who I think was like Andrew something, who also wrote Sleepy Hollow. Jamie Campbell Bower, who played Vecna in the last season of Stranger Things, has been cast in the remake of the horror movie Witchboard, directed by Chuck Russell, who directed The Mask. So he'll be playing another sort of bad guy. Woody Harrelson and Justin Theroux have signed on for a show called White House Plumbers, and they play the ones who actually were the brains behind Watergate. So that should be interesting to look at. Danny Trejo and Tobin Bell, two horror and action film icons, are working together in a movie called Curse of Wolf Mountain. That'll be out on Shudder, I think, really, really soon. Maya Kalahoa has been cast as Lilo in the live-action Lilo and Stitch film. So that's a relative unknown who is also apparently Hawaiian. So that's pretty good. Scott Pilgrim Saves the World, based on the comic book. They made a movie of it with an all-star cast. Well, Netflix decided they're going to make an anime based on the comic, and they're going to be using for the voices the cast of the live-action series. So basically, the comic book came out, Scott Pilgrim comic book story graphic novel came out. They made a live-action film of it with like Brie Larson, Chris Evans, Mary Stuart Winstead and Mary Elizabeth Winstead and a bunch of other famous people as well. Now Netflix is doing an animated version of it with the live action cast doing the voices. So Michael Cera was the lead. So it's a interesting little tidbit there. So that's kind of good. Master Gardener is a new horror film by Paul Schrader. It's a horticultural horror film. My mom used to be a master gardener, but it's about a killer who works as a master gardener, which is kind of interesting. Paul Schrader, a pretty famous director, is directing this as well. Nicole Kidman, Liev Schreiber, Eve Hewson, Dakota Fanning have joined the Netflix limited series The Perfect Couple, based on the Elin Hilderbrand novel. Lee Sung-jin who's writing the new Netflix series Beef, and has written for It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and Silicon Valley. Has been added as one of the writers for Thunderbolts. Ed Harris and Demetrius Gross. Well, Ed Harris is in talks to join the Wonder Man TV show, and Demetrius Gross has been cast as the Grim Reaper in the Wonder Man show. So, for those who know comics, having a Grim Reaper cast in the Wonder Man show is actually very important and very big news. And the fact also that Ed Harris is interested in joining the Marvel MCU is a really good idea as well. Squid Game's Hoyen joins Michael Fassbender and Alicia Vikander in action thriller Hope. In the comics, Spider-Man, Dan Slott, who has a massive 20-plus year run on Spider-Man, maybe less than maybe 15, 20 year, 10, 15, 20 year run on Spider-Man, has just come back to writing a Spider-Man comic with Mark Bagley on artwork. It's on issue 6 right now. I have got the first 3 or 4, I think, but I haven't really been collecting comics, so I don't know. But there was an announcement that the 7th comic, the 7th issue of his comic, which ends the first story arc, is going to have a secret cover for a brand new character that's going to become very important in the Marvel universe. So he wants comic stores to order lots of that one because it's going to be big. Well, he released it this week that he has created a sidekick for Spider-Man called Spider Boy, and got a pretty cool costume and has a connection to Peter Parker already. And we'll investigate that more and more later on. But he will be introduced and is going to become a very important character in Dan Slott's comic book. And since he's being introduced in the main Marvel comic world, he's probably going to show up in the other Spider-Man comics and Marvel stuff as well. Woman who failed driver's test 960 times finally passes. So after 960 times, she finally passes and has her driver's license. I don't know if I'd still give it to her after failing it 960 times, but okay. Ruffles has a new chip out called Double Crunch, salt and vinegar chips. Don't know what Double Crunch is, but kind of interesting. I mean, I can figure it out, but don't know what makes a double crunch. You know, you get the crunchiness with potato chips. Is it a double crunch? Is it louder? I don't know. So we'll see. As I said earlier in the show, it is opening day. It was opening week, I should say, for baseball. And a Dodgers fan ran out onto the field during Dodgers opening night to propose to his girlfriend, who was sitting in the center field where he was sitting also. But he said, I got to get up. And he snuck out and was able to sneak out onto the field and propose to her, and gets totally taken down by security. I mean, he was hit hard. He was hit like a football player hitting a football player hitting offensive player. And guy was, thrown in the jail at the stadium, and his girlfriend said yes. So it's a happy ending in the end, but still probably could have figured out a better way to propose to your girlfriend than doing a misdemeanor. Oh, well. What a cattywampus that was. I'm going to try to fit that in as much as I can. Let's see. Is it time yet? Is it after? Nope. Still got a little bit of time before it happens. There's a couple of there. I don't know. The first collective bargaining agreement for the minor league baseball players has finally been passed. First one ever. Minor leaguers have been having a huge problem being in the minor leagues. So now with this first ever collective bargaining agreement that goes for 5 years for the minor leagues, they get double the pay and they get a lot more accoutrements that their major league counterparts are going to get as well. Paradise Court, I guess. Paradise Court, a horror comic, is going to be getting a movie. Basically, the comic had someone's dead body hanging from a gated community, so it's sort of that sort of horror sort of feel to it. So we'll see about that. We'll talk about that later. there are whales alive today that were born before the book Moby Dick was written. So that's kind of interesting as well. Studio Ghibli is the president has been resigned after a scandal is rocking the company. No word on what it is, but there it is. Kevin Smith is finally going to release his extended cut of Jersey Girl. He always was kind of proud of Jersey Girl. It was his first movie that sort of seemed completely different before he started working on some of the other stuff that's been coming out lately. It was not part of the Askewverse, so it was the first time he actually did a real sort of movie. It was George Carlin's last film that he ever did, and George Carlin played a more serious role than he's used to. Had Liv Tyler, Ben Affleck, and Jennifer Lopez in a cameo. Now, the reason why it sort of tanked is because of the whole Ben Affleck, Jennifer Lopez backlash that happened around that time, even though Jennifer Lopez is barely in the movie. But the reason why he cast her is because at the time she was married for the first time to Ben Affleck, but Liv Tyler is the main love interest in that one. So it's not a bad movie. It's an interesting movie. It's a little bit different than what you're expecting from Kevin Smith, and he wants to show you the extended version, which supposedly is a lot better, has a little bit more Jennifer Lopez in it, and a little bit more better story. So I believe once he does release that, I think Jersey Girl will finally probably get its due, and actually kind of want to see what the extended version is. He has hinted at it before, but he's never actually released it. So here we go. Now, Stranger Things is going to start filming in Atlanta this summer. So the actors who are involved in it are all getting stuff done out of the way before they can focus on Stranger Things. So they're going to be on Stranger Things for a little while. So they're trying to get movies and stuff taken care of before. The only ones that I know about is I talked to you about the Ghostbusters Afterlife sequel called Firehouse is being filmed, and I can't remember his name right now. The guy who plays the one guy who's like the main character who's in love with Elle is in that one. And now Joe Keery, who was attached to a film very soon after Stranger Things ended, has not started filming yet, is now about ready to start filming. It's called Cold Storage, and it's going to star Liam Neeson, Joe Keery, Sosie Bacon from the Smile movies, Georgina Campbell. I told you she's going to make an appearance again, and Leslie Mana something or other. I forget her name. I can't read her name, but they have been cast in the movie Cold Storage, which sounds eerily like the Andromeda strain. Basically, it's about a disease that ran rampant, but they were able to control it in a frozen area, and the freezing stuff has worn off. So now the virus is making its way out again, and it's a group of people have to stop it. So it sounds a lot like Andromeda strain. So whatever. So Joe Keery is going to be working on that before he starts work on Stranger Things. So so they've got some stuff to do there beforehand to work on that. Megalopolis, the Francis Ford Coppola's epic film that he's been dying to make forever, has finally finished production. So we are going to be seeing this. It is done, and he's going to edit together, and we'll see if we get a 3-hour plus cut of it. So we'll see what happens. But that has finished filming, so good on that. The Shrouded casts Vincent Cassel, who you'll also hear later in the show, Diane Kruger, and Guy Pearce in the new David Cronenberg film. Don't know much about it, but it's a new David Cronenberg film, so that's pretty good. The Asteroid City, Wes Anderson's return to filmmaking, has released its first trailer. It's got an all-star cast in it. Scarlett Johansson, Jason Schwartzman, Tom Hanks, Maya Hawke. I forget, there's just a whole ton of famous people that Margot Robbie's in it. Robbie's in it. The first trailer for that came out this week, and it is a very unique looking film. Looks very much set in the 1950s, sort of has that 1950s quality about a city built inside a giant asteroid that an alien UFO arrives and traps them in there. So it's a definitely unique trailer, and I really can't describe it too much. Just go ahead and look at it for yourself. Asteroid City trailer. Type it into your YouTube search engine or whatever, and you should be able to find it. Doritos Roulette is coming back. That's where you have a regular chip, a medium heat one, and a hot chip all mixed together in one bag. So when you grab it, you don't know which one you're going to get. And they came out before in one of their flavors, but now the new Flaming Hot Lemon is going the Doritos Roulette way now as well. Across the Spider-Verse producers announced that they will be creating a Miles Morales short film that will debut months before the sequel to the hugely popular animated Spider-Verse films, which is going to focus a little bit more on Miles Morales. That's kind of good. I don't know how they're going to release it, but it's a good idea. Maybe they should go back to releasing it in movie theaters before movies. That's sort of a cool thing they used to do. They really don't do that really anymore, so that's kind of a shame. God, I can't. Oh, David Lowery, the director of Green Knight, will be directing a episode of Skeleton Crew, the new Star Wars show. That one is also going to be directed by the guys who directed Everything Everywhere All at Once. They're going to be doing an episode as well. So they're getting a huge amount of talent coming in to direct their shows. It's after 12 o'clock. It is officially April 2nd. No more April Fool's Day. We now get into Palm Sunday. The beginning of Holy Week is this week. So yay. Hallelujah. And we're going to start with Christina Aguilera has created a lube for sex. Yes, a lube created by Christina Aguilera will now be available. Also, where's the other sex one? A nude car show has been announced in Wisconsin for August. Not during now because it'd be too freaking cold to do a nude car show. But out in August, if you want to go to a nude car show, you can go and go see a car show on a nudist colony. So you will probably have to be nude, and there will be people who are nude there too. So there you go. So there's your first couple sex stuff to begin this Holy Week. Junji Ito, which is a gritty manga, a horror thing, is getting a Hollywood adaptation by Jeff Howard, who was producer of the Haunting of Hill House and Midnight Mass, and worked with Mike Flanagan on a bunch of his stuff. He's going to be working on this one himself. Speaking of Mike Flanagan wants to direct a Clayface spinoff of the new Batman from the new Batman movie series. They're doing the Penguin TV show. He wants to do a Clayface spinoff, which is funny because I guess he announced it around the same time. I just didn't see that. The director of Batman 2 has announced that Clayface will be one of the villains. So I guess Mike Flanagan says that he hopes that maybe he can do a spinoff like they did a spinoff for the Penguin for Clayface. And Katie Sackhoff, who is presently on The Mandalorian, has said that she wouldn't mind playing Poison Ivy in a movie as well. So we'll see if that actually happens. Moms have been putting Cheerios in blenders to make edible sand for their children, for the babies, because babies love to grab the sand and stuff in their mouth. So now they actually can do it and get something to eat out of it. Cheerios. That's a cattywampus as well. E3 has been canceled. The event with talking about video games and stuff like that has been canceled. Has been going on for at least 35 plus years. Is now being canceled for the first time. Don't know why, or if it's permanent or if it's just temporary. Don't know. But there will be no E3 this year. There's a new horror video game that turns fishing. Yes, that fishing where you throw a rod and reel and you sit in the water and try to catch fish into a psychological warfare game. So that was just kind of a weird headline that I wanted to see. That's kind of a cattywampus as well. New Fear's Eve is a new slasher film which introduces a new killer who wears a plague mask. Could be showing up in some of the horror outlets here real soon. Gendy Tartakovsky, who's been famous for a bunch of stuff, Samurai Jack, most, and then he also did the original Clone Wars stuff, is doing a new series called Unicorn Warrior. It is a true sort of fantasy, steampunk sort of amalgamation. Looks kind of interesting. The trailer came out this week, so check that out if you like to. Bill Skarsgård, who played Pennywise the Dancing Clown in the It Part 1 and Part 2 movies, has not been approached, nor has been had discussions with or whatever with the producers and directors of the HBO Max miniseries Welcome to Derry, which is going to be a prequel to the It series. So they're either going to cast someone else as Pennywise, or they will get to him eventually before they film other stuff. But it has supposedly started production, so I don't think Bill Skarsgård will be involved with that at all. Megan Thee Stallion is in talks to star with Adam Sandler in his new Safdie Brothers pick. The Safdie Brothers are the ones that have been making serious picks for Adam Sandler to be in for Netflix, and Megan Thee Stallion is showing interest in starring in the new film. Doesn't mean she will, no idea, but we'll see if that actually happens. Multiverses, the Warner Brothers, Smash Brothers sort of video game that you have, where you have Warner Brothers characters like Bugs Bunny taking on like Batman and stuff like that, and Smash Brothers type things, has shut down and will not restart until 2024. And those who paid for it will not get a refund. So kind of a shitty thing to do, but we'll see what happens about that. Mr. Entity, Moffat Family Haunting TV series in the work at Blumhouse. I guess is based on a true ghost story. Don't know anything about the Moffat Family Haunting, but it's at Blumhouse, so will be a show. So should be interesting. Joe Quesada, former editor-in-chief at Marvel Comics, has joined Amazon to develop comic book projects, which I find kind of funny because everybody's screaming that Disney's doing too many comic book projects on their Disney Plus, and now all of a sudden Amazon wants to get involved in it. It seems a little hinky. Like it just seems like people just want to hate on Disney and not Amazon. So no one is saying that too much comic book stuff. So no. A gathering of great white sharks is happening right now off of the coast of North Carolina in the Outer Banks, where I've been multiple times. Some are up to 13 feet long. No one knows exactly what's drawing them to the Outer Banks waters, but if you're down there, it's still probably too early to go swimming. But just watch out. They are out there, and there are a lot of them. So that's a cattywampus as well. Death Sadao Lizuki, the animator of Godzilla's Ray, I guess the thing that shoots out of him as well, died at the age of 88. Willis Reed, a Hall of Fame basketball player, passed away this week as well. Leo D. Sullivan, pioneer black animator, died at the age of 82 this week as well. Anniversaries, Beetlejuice is 35 years old this week. So that's that. Two more pages of this cattywampus. I'm moving on here. Obsession trailer coming out April 13th on Netflix is a hypersexual limited series about a woman who falls in love. I shouldn't say falls in love, but has an affair with her fiance's father. Give me a second. I thought I heard something over here. Ah! 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 Hopefully it was nothing. Sorry you had to see that. Right over here. Okay, we'll see. We'll leave the lights on, so we'll see. But it's supposedly the story is that the father is the only one that can really bring her to orgasm, and she becomes obsessed with that. The son's obsessed with her. The father's obsessed with her. It's all kinds of crazy stuff, but it looks like it's a hypersexual TV show. The limited series is going to be on Netflix, so there was a lot of nudity and sexual activity in it, so we'll see what happens. Well, you didn't see the nudity in the trailer since it wasn't red band, but got something there. My Adventures with Superman, a cartoon that was supposed to be on HBO Max, has been shopped around, and Adult Swim has picked it up, so you'll be seeing that on Adult Swim here really soon. A school board in Pennsylvania has banned productions in high schools and only really in high schools, really, of the Addams Family musical, which is coincidentally a musical that my daughter's involved in at her high school. She's not in it. She's working behind the scenes. And my cousin's son was in a version of it that just came out this weekend. But they are claiming that the musical is, has themes of death and despair, and they don't think high school kids should be involved with that. So I think that's kind of messed up, but that's Pennsylvania for you, I guess. Night Agent has been renewed for a second season. The first season just came out, became popular on Netflix, and has now been renewed for a second season. The Continental, the TV spinoff of the John Wick movie series, which has Mel Gibson in it, is set to debut in the fall of 2023 on Peacock. So you can get your fix of John Wick. This is a spinoff, a prequel, as is The Ballerina, which is the Anna de Armas film coming out. That's a spinoff of the John Wick series as well, coming out here soon as well. Ben Schwartz wants to play Plastic Man. He mentioned that right around a day or so after James Gunn announced the possibility of doing the Terrifics. And Plastic Man is a part of that team. And Ben Schwartz actually is a pretty good likeness of it. I could see him in the role and wouldn't be too upset if he did. NASA Zero Gravity coffee cup looks like a vagina. And there are people who saw that and say they want a copy of it. They want a version of it. Let's see, something says breaking news, but I don't want to click on it because I don't want to lose my place here. Let's see if it's popped up on Twitter here. No, nothing showing up here. All right, nothing there. And let's see if there's anything on Facebook here. Nope. So no idea. I don't want to click on that right now. Maybe I'll do it after the show to see what it is, but I don't want to touch it right now because I don't want to mess up my stuff here. So yes, it's the design. You have to do it to keep the coffee in the coffee cup in a zero gravity thing, or else it's gonna be floating all over the place. So it does that. It just so happens that it looks like vagina. The Texas Rangers set opening day started this Thursday for everybody, and baseball is underway now. But I talked about this a couple weeks ago. There was, I think it was the Milwaukee Brewers or the Cubs or something like that, had a giant beer served in a baseball bat that you could drink. Well, now the Rangers unveil a 2-foot-long burger, which looks to be about the length of a baseball bat, but is a 2-foot-long hamburger sandwich sort of thing. So bring your appetite if you want to when you're going to the baseball stadium, because you will do it. You'll need it. D&D is still huge. It's still going to be huge for a while there. They are now going to get involved in a new DLC role-playing for Minecraft. So there's now a Dungeons & Dragons Minecraft DLC role-playing game out there now. And Joe Manganiello, who is a Dungeon and Dragon person, has been hired to do a live-action Dragonlance adaptation. That means probably writing, starring, and directing in it, because it's an obsession of his. So good on that. Lee Cronin, the director of the new Evil Dead trailer, or the new Evil Dead sequel coming out, I think later this month, has set up his next film after this. It's called Fall. It's another horror film. So he seems to be working the horror aspect of things. Eddie Murphy is circling the Bad Boys-esque heist film directed by Tim Story, who directed the original Deadpool, called The Pickup. So we'll see if he actually ends up doing that, and if he does, who his Bad Boys style co-star will be. Crater, first look at the Disney Plus movie on coming out in May. It looks like it's a bunch of kids on the moon, get lost on the moon in a crater or whatever. It could be pretty interesting. Karan Sui and Leslie Wiggums have returned for Deadpool 3. They were the taxi driver and the blind black lady. They're coming back for the third one. The Dead Ringers trailer with Rachel Weisz came out from Prime, due out April 21st. It's a remake of the Jeremy Irons film about twins who work on weird human experimentation. This one, the Rachel Weisz is trying to figure out a way to create babies and life without sperm and ova. So that seems to be the trailer, but it's kind of a creepy looking kind of trailer. Koi wolves are taking over eastern North America. Koi wolves have not really been seen in the wild for many years until about 20 some years ago, and now are starting to double in size and move about the northeastern North America. The Pixar movie from this summer, Elemental, had it released a new trailer this week, just following up a little bit more about it. It's about the city called Element City, where the elements are humanized, fire and water, ground and air are all like sort of humanized, and they work and do stuff, and fire and water fall in love with each other, and they're never allowed to fall in love with each other. So it's like a Romeo and Juliet sort of thing. So that'll be interesting to see how that is. X-Files in the news twice. The animated series X-Files Albuquerque has been canceled, or was never picked up at Fox. So never heard. That's the first I heard that they were doing a animated X-Files series set in Albuquerque, but it has not picked up from Fox, so it doesn't even matter. And Ryan Coogler, who directed the Black Panther movies, has signed on to do an X-Files reboot with a more diverse cast in it. So we'll see when and where and if that actually does happen. Robert Kirkman, the creator of The Walking Dead and Invincible, is set to produce a remake of the 1954 horror film, The Mole People. Just producing it. He's not directing it, so that's kind of interesting. Blackout Cake Oreos, for those who can't get enough of their chocolate. Now you can get it in your Blackout Cake flavored Oreos. Crystal Lake, the Friday the 13th prequel/sequel series, has started production, so that'll be coming up really soon. Matthew McFadden has joined the cast of Deadpool 3. Muppet Mayhem, first look from Disney Plus, was released this week. It's going to be a series about the Electric Mayhem band and an adventure that they have. So it is a series on Disney Plus. A 17th century hoard basket was discovered with 1,000 coins from Poland. So from the 1700s coins, that's a big find for whoever finds it. Or whoever found it, they found it, so it's going to be released there. Now, Tessa Thompson and Joseph Gordon-Levitt had signed on to do a sci-fi thriller called Ash. They have now backed out of that. So two, fairly, pretty well-known stars who've been in some big hits have been replaced by Eliza Gonzalez, and Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad. Eliza Gonzalez, so replacing Tessa Thompson, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Hopefully, this may be their big break, and they can become. Aaron Paul was a big starter in Breaking Bad, but he hasn't really done much since then, movie-wise. So we'll see what happens with that. Man on Fire, the Dakota Fanning, Denzel Washington movie from Tony Scott that came out years ago, is now getting a TV series from Netflix, or it is going to be getting a TV series from Netflix. What I didn't know was that Man on Fire was actually the first of a 5-book series that follows the same sort of character that Denzel Washington played. So the series is going to adapt the first two, Man on Fire, and I forget what the second one is called. And if it's successful, they'll do the other ones as well. So that's kind of a good news for that. Cocaine Bear, the actual Cocaine Bear, is going to officiate a marriage in a Kentucky shop. Now, the Kentucky shop claims to have the actual skin from the actual Cocaine Bear. Has been in their store now for 20 plus years. And this couple, who I guess like the Cocaine Bear stuff, have decided they want to get married in this shop and have Cocaine Bear be the officiant, which doesn't make much sense to me because he can't talk because he's dead. So I don't know how that's going to happen, but there you go. Kentucky people are weird, I guess. This is in the news of the weird that is absolutely probably not happening. It came from not a reparable website. It was just one of these weird websites, but I thought it was a great headline, so I figured I'd use it. It's after midnight, so I can. Aliens are reproducing with humans, an Oxford professor claims, and he has evidence to back it up. So aliens are fucking humans. So awesome. That'd be great. Any deaths on here? I think I hit all the deaths. Anniversaries, Quantum Leap, the original TV show, debuted in 1989 this week. So 89, 99, 2009, 2019, 34 years ago. Police Academy 2 debuted 38 years ago. I'm sorry, 36 years ago. Yes, 36 years ago. The Panic Room, the David Fincher, Jodie Foster film, debuted 21 years ago this week. And that's it for the anniversaries. Down to my last page. Yay, so I can get out of here and haven't heard anything since. So hopefully it might be maybe something on the outside. I'll go upstairs and see if I hear anything up there. So I really hope I don't. All right, so what do we got here? A 91-year-old man becomes the oldest person to cross the Grand Canyon. Kate Bosworth and Justin Long have gotten engaged. Walking Dead City teaser trailer debuted this week. Looks like another good Walking Dead series there. Ultron is rumored to make an appearance in the Armor Wars movie coming out later this year, or later next year, I should say. Diplo, a former DJ, ran the LA Marathon on LSD and under 4 hours. So that's an interesting little side story there. The James Webb Telescope spies hot, gritty clouds in the atmosphere of an exoplanet that has 2 suns. It's always cool to see cool sort of science space things, and that's kind of cool that they actually spotted clouds on another planet that has 2 suns, which is kind of interesting. A horse died on the set of the Rings of Power Season 2 series, and I think PETA or whatever is calling for the cast to now ride CGI horses since one died in their care. Samuel L. Jackson and Vincent Cassel, who I talked about earlier, are going to be starring in a serial killer film. I can't read what the title is, but it is a serial killer film they'll be doing real soon. Speaking of Samuel L. Jackson, Secret Invasion, the next Marvel MCU TV show, is set to debut on Disney Plus on June 21st, which is one day after my 50th birthday. The WB has won the bidding war for Drowning, the TJ Newman novel. She has another movie that's in production right now. And from her first book, and this one is her second book. And she's one of these, seems like one of these John Grisham sort of Stephen King types that every one of her books is immediately going to get picked up to be a film. This one is basically, I think they're saying Apollo 13, but an airplane that is threatening to sink and kill everybody on board, sort of thing. Jessica Chastain has been cast in the Apple TV Plus series, The Savant. Megamind sequel series is coming. Megamind is a film with Will Ferrell from a long time ago, where he plays a villain who ends up being the good guy, and he's been a hugely popular film from the 90s, I think. I don't think it was any time before that, or maybe it was early 2000s. I don't know. But a sequel series is on its way. Liv Tyler will be reprising her role as Betty Ross in the upcoming Captain America 4, which everybody's now saying is a sequel to the Hulk. Pretty much like they're saying Thunderbolts is a sequel to Black Widow, because you've got the leader, you've got Thunderbolt Ross, now you got Betty Ross. So that's kind of interesting to see that. Heat 2 is rumored to be looking to add Anna de Armas to the cast. I talked a little bit more about other rumored cast members of Heat 2. If they can get at least any of these cast members, it should be an interesting sort of take on things. Rick Riordan is saying that the writer's room for the Percy Jackson series has started production on the season 2 scripts, even though Disney Plus has not renewed it for a new season. Better late than never, so they can get a head start on it, so that once it gets released, and it should get picked up for a second season, because I think it's going to do extraordinarily well, they'll be ready and willing to go right immediately. And I think Disney's okay with that, because they decide to pick it up for a second season. They don't want to wait too long. And if they have the scripts already ready, they can just jump right in to production and do it really quickly. So say the show comes out the end of this year or early next year, as it's postulating, and it immediately does very well, Disney can say, okay, we'll give it a second season so we can adapt the second novel. They've already got the scripts in place. They can start filming literally early 2024 for a late 2024, early 2025, more like an early 2025 debut, which would make it a year after the 2024. So it makes sort of sense to start working on that now. So they seem to be very good on that. So this will be the last one I do. So that should be interesting to see. Oh, yeah. 2 groups interested in buying the Washington Commanders football team have met the price of $6 billion that Dan Snyder is asking for. So now he's just going to decide which of the 2 groups he wants to own the team. So we're getting closer to the team being owned there. That's another good one to do. Samara Weaving has joined the cast of can't read that. Bella, something like that. It's a adventure film set in the 1980s, so that'd be interesting to see that. Oh, the Chosen One series, based on the American Jesus graphic novel, has got its first look. It's a Netflix, going to be a Netflix show, so it's got its first look there. God, what the hell? Oh, I know what that is. Ash and Pikachu have officially left the building. Their final episode ever aired earlier this week. So they are so they have finished up their adventure after 25 years. So long, farewell. Thanks for all the fish. What in the hell? Actor Artie Frozen joins Daredevil Born Again series. I have no idea what this says right there. 688, Tyler Perry to write and direct a Netflix film about the first ever all-black female World War II battalion. Killers of the Flower Moon, which I just bought the book for. I've started reading it. And Martin Scorsese, De Niro, DiCaprio are making a film of it. It will be premiering at Cannes and will be getting a theatrical release on October 21st before I believe it goes to Paramount Plus, which means I should probably go see it in the movie theater because I don't have Paramount Plus. Lena Headey has been cast in the new Kurt Sutter Western, The Abandoned, for Netflix. Lena Headey was in Game of Thrones, and now she's going to be in Kurt Sutter's new show. Frosted Banana Bread and Apple Jacks Pop-Tarts are your new Pop-Tart flavors out there. Questlove is going to be directing a live-action version of The Aristocats, which is a old-school Disney film that not a lot of people know about, and that's kind of interesting to see that. Thousands of drive at Andrews eggplants. What? I have no idea what this says. So I'm just going to ignore this. Cross this out because I have no idea what it says. Before I get to the last story of the week, some anniversaries. Scooby-Doo 2 with my girl Sarah Michelle Gellar debuted in 2004. So we're looking at 19 years ago. So the 20th anniversary is next year. The Core is 20 years old this week. It's a disaster film about a group that plows down to the center of the Earth's core to start the core to get the core to start moving again. How to Train Your Dragon is anniversary is 13 years from this week. It follows the sex slasher film about a disease that is transmitted sexually and kills people from the inside. Debuted in 2014, so we're looking at 9 years ago. So the 10-year anniversary is coming up here. Blade 2 came out 21 years ago this week as well. It's a pretty good episode as well. I don't know what that says. Joe Giella, old school inker of the Batman comics, died at the age of 94. And I have no idea who this is either. So someone else died here. I can't read my own hair. I got to do a better job of writing my stuff up. So now the final story of the week is a dog at a baseball game again, opening day, it was this week, caught a home run ball that was hit. So he was sitting in the stands and a home run ball comes flying and he catches it in his mouth. Pretty cool dog, man. That's quite a cattywampus, I'll tell you that much. So that's it for this episode. I thought it was going to be longer, but I decided to go a little quicker on that. Next week's episode is going to be a little interesting because I don't know exactly when I'm going to do it because it is Easter weekend. I'm off Good Friday, so I might be able to do it Good Friday because Easter Saturday we're going to go have lunch, dinner with my mom, but we're going to have to get Easter baskets made up and hidden and stuff like that, or help the Easter bunny, I should say, hide the Easter baskets on Saturday night. And then Sunday we go down to my in-laws for Easter, and then it's back to normal. So don't know when I'm going to do this week's episode coming up of Dylan Knows. Might be able to fit it in early on the Saturday instead of around this time. It would be earlier. So we'll find out. We'll see it when I see it. Came up with an idea for my 500th episode, which is only 5 weeks away. So if we do end up doing it, a show this week coming up. So we're talking at probably the beginning of May. We'll probably be doing my 500th episode. My idea I have is I might divide the 500th episode up into 5 parts and do my 500 favorite movies of all time in order. So like number 500 is like, I like this one, but not as much as I like the number one. And it's going to be an interesting thing for me to think about. I got 5 weeks to work on it. So I'll see if I'm actually going to do that. I think that's what I'm going to end up doing. So we'll see what happens. So next week is Easter weekend. So we will see how that all works out. And yeah, we'll see what's going on like that. So I'm out of here. The weather seems to have calmed down a little bit. It's still chilly. Hopefully it's not going to be too bad for my family, and they'll get back to me fine, and they have their week off and I have to go to work. So it is what it is. Anyway, time to go. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. It is officially Holy Week. So go out there. Bye.